Welcome to Life Recovery Today, brought to you by New Life. If you're feeling stuck in addiction, grief, anxiety, or broken relationships, you're not alone. Over the next half hour, you'll discover practical tools and biblical truth from the 12 steps of life recovery, designed to help you heal, grow, and thrive. Because recovery isn't just about what you're giving up, it's about who you're becoming. Whether you're new to recovery or looking to go deeper, we have resources to guide you. Bibles, workbooks, devotionals, and real stories of transformation. You can start your journey today on your own, in a group, or through your church. Visit newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to take the next step. This is your time for healing, hope, and freedom. This is Life Recovery Today.
Hello, welcome to Life Recovery Today. I'm Becky Brown, I'm your host. We are so grateful that you joined us. You know, each week we bring a new episode to help you in your recovery journey. Whether you are struggling in addiction or you're in relationship with somebody who is struggling with addiction, recovery can help you. I also know that we talk about recovery being for everyone, and it truly is. And I think as you listen to today's program, you're going to see how recovery can impact your life. We want to encourage you in that journey. On today's show, we're going to hear from Corey Busk. He's been providing a series on recovery and the story of the prodigal son. And you wonder, how in the world does that relate? Well, if you are in relationship with someone who has an addiction, you know that their addiction impacts your life in so many ways. Everything from the excuses that they give you that they're going to do better to the horrific circumstances that come when recovery is not practiced and addiction takes over. It's so painful and it can be such a lonely journey. But you know, in recovery, we really want you to understand the power of connection. You know, when you are experiencing recovery and the power of that group, it really will amaze you at how God works through those other people. Let's listen in. Corey has been through recovery himself. He's helping other people in recovery through the work that he does at a treatment center, helping people find freedom from drugs and alcohol. The person who is in addiction and recovery is not the only one who has the healing to experience it. Recovery is for everyone, and we say it all the time. And I hope that something that you hear Corey say today will prompt you to see the connection between God's word, your own recovery, and the freedom that lies ahead.
Hey, welcome back to part 3 of our series on the prodigal family. I am Corey Busk, and in the part 1 and part 2, we talked about touched on the prodigal son who asked his dad for his inheritance, and his dad gave it to him, and then he went and he spent it all on wild living, and then he came to his senses, and he went back home to his father. And last time we worked together, we talked about this heart of the father for his kids, for God the Father, for us as his children. How the prodigal, which it's still, just as I was thinking over the time from when we were last together until now, I was just thinking about that again and again. I was listening to this worship song, and it was actually, the theme of it was get the ring and the robe, and keep running home. And I just was overwhelmed by this thought and this sense again from the prodigal, of the father just running after him, and just seeing him and just running fully for him, and just hugging him and kissing him, and just so excited for him to be home. And my hope is that if you're tuning in and you are needing a reminder to go home, come home, come to the Father. He is there. He is compassionate. He is loving, and he's waiting. He's waiting for us to continue to return. And in this third part, we are going to talk about the older brother. Now, the thing about addiction and recovery is that addiction is not just, it does not just affect those of us who are in the addiction. It affects our family, it affects our friends, and in ways that we don't even know. In ways that we don't even know. And sometimes we've just hurt so many relationships that we just even hearing that we're near draws up some feelings. And so for those of you who are a family member of those of us who are in recovery or in active addiction, that I just want you to know, you are also welcome here. This is not just a place for those of us in recovery. This is a place for those who are looking for recovery, but also for family, because I know you're tired. And I know that you have some feelings about your loved one being in addiction and the way that their life has turned out and the hurts and the things that they've done to you. And so that is what we're going to talk about in this last part of the Prodigal Son series. And again, reading out of Luke 15, starting in verse 25. Meanwhile, so this is after the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. Because remember, in verse 24, it ended, at least my version ends with, so the party began. And I love that. I love that there is a party for those of us who are turning our lives around and giving up the old and stepping into the new. So when he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. And when he asked one of the servants what was going on, they answered, "Your brother is back." Now, if you are someone who's a family member or a friend who has just been hurt and affected by someone who is in active addiction, I'm sure that this verse, hearing this verse in your context, your brother is back, probably brings up some feelings and some valid feelings, right? They are valid. And he says, your brother is back, and your father has killed the fattened calf, and we are celebrating. I love that the hired team is they are celebrating. We're celebrating. We are celebrating because of his safe return. Because of his safe return. And the older brother was angry, and he would not go in. And his father came out, and he begged him to come in. But the brother replied, "All these years I have worked for you and never once refused to do a single thing that you told me to. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet, when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf." His father said to him. Actually, we're going to stop there. I I find it interesting, and rightly so, that the response from the older brother is very much a comparative response, right? He's comparing, listen, look what he did, and you haven't even done something less than for me. And those can be valid feelings. Those can be very valid feelings, especially for those of you who have felt that you've done the right thing. You have done what you needed to do. You have been loyal. You have taken care of your parents. You've been with your parents. That is a very valid feeling to have. And I wonder, as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about the older brother, or maybe for those of you in your situation, what would it take? What would it take for you to enter into the party? What would it take for you to get to a place of feeling excited and thankful that your sibling or your friend or your cousin who has just returned, maybe for the fourth, fifth, sixth time, they've just gotten out of jail. They have, they've returned home and people are opening their arms to welcome them, and these feelings are rising up. What would it take? What would that take for you to feel that you could be in a place to enter into the party? And for some of you, that may be a really hard thing to conceptualize. It may be a really hard thing to open up and admit to. It may also be a hard thing. You might be sitting here as someone who is a loved one of someone in an addiction, and you might also be feeling some feelings about being the older brother. And that's okay. That's okay. Because what it's saying is that there is something going on in here. There's something going on that needs to be talked about, needs to be forgiven, needs to be said, needs to be something for you to be able to enter into the party and to celebrate their return. Because I'll tell you what, it is not just the prodigal coming home that's welcome into the party. You're welcome too. You're welcome too. And you're wanted. You are wanted just as much as the prodigal is wanted.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Visit newlife.com/groups or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis, someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today. Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Welcome back. Families in recovery are challenging the obstacles to the relationships. Now think about that. You have to overcome the obstacles to stay connected, and we can help you do that. Abandonment, shame, frustration, and anxiety, among other feelings, are prevalent in families where addiction is present. That's what we've been talking about. The story tells all of those pieces and parts of the obstacles that come into connection when addiction is present. Corey's going to continue to explore the ways that addiction impacts the family. And whether you're dealing with it now or have dealt with it in the past, there is healing that can come in recovery. Let's listen in as Corey talks more about the prodigal son and addiction.
You know what the older brother is saying is, what about me? What about me? And I think that as I'm sitting here and I'm really thinking about how I would feel in that situation, is I would also want to be celebrated. And not necessarily because I've stuck around. I mean, that's what he's saying, I've stuck around. But for me, like, I want to be celebrated. I want to know that I have worth. I want to know that you have love and compassion for me. And what that could symbolize in some families, not necessarily this prodigal family, but in some families, so much attention and energy is spent on those of us who are in active addiction. There's worries and there's anxiety and there's stress. Are they alive? Are they coming home? Are they safe? Are they okay? And the family member and the friend that's at home with that parent is the one who's really having to pick up the load of their, not only do they worry for themselves, right? That is that person, is my family member in addiction, are they safe? They also might be feeling some abandonment from their sibling. You might be feeling some one, you're feeling your own anxiety and about that person who's in addiction, but two, you also might feel the burden of making sure that you do everything correct. What I've seen in families that are affected by one person's addiction is that there's a lot of, the parents are worried. One parent is like very vocal about emotion. Maybe the other parent is very detached and very angry. But then there's a sibling, and the sibling, one of the things they're not only worried about is their brother or sister safe, but what they're also worried about is that, are their parents okay? And what do I need to do to make sure that I'm doing everything right? Almost like a low level of perfectionism, because this brother or sister, they're out there and they're doing these things, and I'm seeing the way that it's affecting my parents, and I don't want to be like that. I don't want them to have any more burden. And so oftentimes I see siblings feeling unseen. They're feeling unseen, they're feeling unheard. And I really think that that's what's happening in this older brother, that he's feeling unseen and he's feeling rather unloved. And he's doing this whole comparison. And Brene Brown, her famous quote, comparison is the thief of joy. The thief of joy. And that's exactly what's happening here. That's exactly what's happening. He's not entering into the party. He's not willing to celebrate. And instead, his dad comes out and he's like, "Hey, we have got to celebrate." And the older brother's like, "But what about me? What about me?" And I'll tell you this, the older brother I think he gets a bad rap for being selfish. And I will say, from someone who's in recovery, from our standpoint, it does feel hurtful and it does feel it can feel selfish that you're being selfish and all that, and that you don't love me enough to come celebrate me. I don't think that's what's happening here. I really think what's happening is, what about me? They just want to be seen, they want to be felt, they want to be heard. And I think the older brother oftentimes gets a bad rap. I really think he gets a bad rap for being selfish and rude and uncaring and unloving. And I don't necessarily know that he's fully unloving and fully not caring. But more so, he's having a moment. He's having a moment, and this also could be, right? If you think of like a counseling context, this might be his emotion coming out about just his brother in general. There's things left unsaid. There's amends that need to be made. There's just a lot of hurt, I think, that's going on. And the father now is in the middle, he doesn't know what to do, right? And so his father says to him, "Look, dear son," he acknowledges to the older brother, "You've always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours." So basically saying, I see you, you've always stuck around, and you've always been there, and everything I have is also still yours. You're not left out. You are not unseen. And he doesn't necessarily apologize, but I do love that what he does for his two kids, he says basically, I see you, you've stayed by me, everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate. We had to celebrate. Why? Because your brother was dead and he's come back to life. He was lost and now he's found. And I find it interesting that Jesus never talks about if the older brother came into the party. He never mentions it here. At least it's not recorded. And I find that fascinating because it really does give us an option for the family member, for the older brother, for those of you who are hurt, that don't feel seen, that don't feel heard, that don't feel like that you have gotten the same treatment or the same things from parents and family that your loved one has. It really opens it up that you get to decide and you get to take your own time and your own process to go into the party, because you are welcome. You are welcome to the party. And I think if you were sitting there and you were upset, maybe you had your prodigal family member come home and everybody's celebrating and you're still feeling the way that you want to feel. I do want to say that feelings are okay. And honesty is also a good policy. And if someone is new in recovery and they're just know that they will talk to you one day if they're going through the steps. And also, you get to join in the party as well. You get to join in the party in your time, in what you need to do, because your feelings are also valid. And so I just want to say that, I am sorry. I am sorry that if you are feeling the way that you feel due to us that have been in addiction, yeah, I'm sorry. And I really hope and I pray for that relationship to be mended, for that relationship to be reconciled, and just that you're seen, that you have done right things. There may have been some things you could have done better as well. Who knows? I don't know your specific situation, but I do want to say you are welcome into this party just as much. And the party is just as much yours as it is. And we should always, as believers and as children of God, that we should always be willing to celebrate when the old is gone and the new has come. I mean, even in your own as a family member, the bitterness and the resentment and the confusion and the why this but not me, even that resentment, the old is gone, the new has come. Let's celebrate that too. You are also worth celebrating. And so as we wrap up this 3-part about these 3 prodigal family members, I just want to say that we are ready to party. We are ready for the ring. We are ready for the robe. Please reach out for any help that you may need. And just thankful for those of you in recovery, those of you who are thinking about recovery, and those of you who have family members that you're hoping and praying for recovery. I pray for you and I pray for them. And let's party.
Thank you for watching today. The story of the prodigal son is so powerful in and of itself. Yet, as Corey wove the story into the recovery journey, you can see how powerful the healing process can be for each and every one of us. My own family, we had addiction hit us in a big way, as my brother struggled with heroin addiction for many years. And it was so impactful and so many painful points where we just thought it would never, we'd never rise above that. Our family has healed and we are connected to this day, but it really did make an impact on the extension of grace and mercy that each and every one of us need in recovery. You know, if addiction has impacted your family, whether it is drugs and alcohol, maybe it's pornography, who knows, gambling. There's so many ways that we get hooked into something that feels like it's going to bring us hope, and yet it just brings destruction. If that's been part of your family story, there's help available for you to get into the process of recovery, whether it is the person that has the addiction or the family needing to recover from the impacts of that addiction. There is hope and there is a future. We have interventionists that we can connect you with. We have treatment centers that we know are solid and can get you into that journey of healing and wholeness. We want to be part of that story of recovery and redemption. You know, as Corey shared, the Word of God is really telling us the story that there is always hope, and we want that for you. If you have any questions or if you're stuck in your process, reach out today. It could be the beginning of your journey home. We're so grateful that you joined us. God bless you, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today, where we believe your past doesn't have to define your future. If you're ready to take the next step, we're here to help with Bibles, workbooks, devotionals, and more. Visit newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Your journey to healing and freedom can start right now. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay courageous, and keep moving forward.